Shalom. I like to say all praises to the Most High Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who rule well, and shalom to the hopeful elect. What's going on in the UK is completely different than what's going on in the US. And from Friday, which was yesterday, the 24th of July, 2020, they made it mandatory, to be wearing a face mask. Now, through the spirit, we knew this was going to happen because, it was pretty obvious that, that's how this devil rolls. He makes it he makes it optional at first, and then he makes it mandatory, so he doesn't fully swing. He kind of measures twice and cuts once. That's how Esau rolls. Like he likes to roll things out, in moderation, and he likes to work through attrition. He doesn't just come with the hammer. He'll slap you first before he hammers you. Now, if you can see here, this is the Mayor of London, and I follow him, on Instagram. I don't really use Instagram. I've got a troll account, to be honest, but I follow him on my troll account. Don't really comment, but it's just nice to see what's going on in the world. And you see here the Mayor of London, which is Sadiq Khan. He's got the face mask on, so this is all part of that propaganda. Even though he hasn't got that many followers, but at the same time, these so-called leaders are leading by example. Even though they're not really, because we know they're a bunch of hypocrites. But if you see here, still not wearing a face covering, read this. If you don't wear a face covering and have COVID-19, the risk of spreading it to others nearby can be as high as 70%. If you do wear a face covering, it drops to 5%. Now, we all know this is absolute bullcrap because, at the plantation the other day, I was with somebody and we saw a woman that, he was popping or whatever, and she works for the NHS, which is the National Health Service in the UK. And she stated, over the last month, they've had 2 cases of COVID, and most of the cases where people died have nothing to do with COVID, but they still put COVID down as the cause of death. Now, this is from the mouth of a nurse, and I'd say she's a little bit bugged because she had a face mask on when she was going home. But at the same time, when I said that to somebody else whose friend also works in the NHS, they said, or people have been attacked, especially nurses have been attacked for not wearing face masks. So people are really bugging out here. I carry on. Experts state that wearing face coverings in shops can help reduce transmission of COVID-19, along with keeping a safe distance and hand washing. Now, when they say expert, they're being very vague as to who these experts are. It's like me saying, well, studies suggest, or studies show that that doesn't mean anything, unless you're providing context. What experts? Because the experts I've been listening to, the doctors I've been listening to, have been saying it actually lowers, your immune system and restricts your breathing and de-optimizes, if that's a word, your respiratory system. So where's he getting these so-called facts from? He's probably the same dude that said he was going to lower taxes in London, and you didn't because you're a liar. You can have COVID-19 without symptoms, so face coverings help protect people we come into contact with if we're showing no symptoms or are asymptomatic. Now, most people that watch my video probably are aware of Elta Manatazakbar, and he showed, a so-called meme where people who were painting and people who were dealing with asbestos were wearing all these masks. And when it comes to the so-called deadliest disease in the history of man, which is not really, apparently, a piece of cloth is sufficient enough. And most people are aware of the mask classifications as far as N95 being, it protects you up to 95%, or it protects or it stops you from breathing in 95% of contaminant air particles. And N99 means that it filters 99% of the air. So you're only breathing in so-called 1%, contaminated air particles. Basically, the higher the number is reflective of the percentage of air particles that it protects you from. So if you have an N50 mask, is protecting you from 50% of the air particles. So N95, N95 mask, which is what these, it's like a standard mask. Most people are not even wearing N95 masks. You're just wearing that piece of crap cloth, to protect you from others, and it completely escapes the comprehension of my mind for people to actually think that protection is like me wearing a bulletproof vest and saying me having a bulletproof vest protects you from getting shot. It only really protects me. If you have a mask and it's meant to protect the other person from you, why do they also need a mask? Shouldn't it protect you from them as well? Or is it just, like it doesn't make any sense, because you're saying the mask protects the person who you're around, but it doesn't protect you from them. What the hell? Like that doesn't even make sense. So what, are you not breathing through the mask? Can do air particles or contaminated air particles only go out and you're not breathing any contaminated air particles in? I mean, when you really look at it, it doesn't even make any sense, and it's a complete contradiction. Well, that's it. Spirit just pretty much shut that down. Don't get caught out today. From today, you must wear a face covering in shops and supermarkets. Now, this is probably, a day ago, which was Friday, which was when they made it mandatory. And I was going to the shops today. I'm gonna try and speed this through. I was going to the shops today, and I've gone out with my little, bandana or whatever around my neck, and I don't really put it on because you know how it is. I ain't scared of this. I'm scared of the Lord, not this. And the bodyguard in the store ran after me, and he said, you have to put on a mask. They're walking around doing surprise inspections and finding people on the spot £100. And I put it on, and when I was out there, some Edomite woman said she didn't have one to get into the store, and the spirit kind of came upon me to give it to her. I don't know why, because normally I'm mean as hell to Edomites, but I just helped her out, and it was a spirit, because at the end of the day, we don't know what she's going in there to get. She might have a Jake boyfriend, and the Lord might save him, or she might have Jake kids, and the Lord might protect them until whatever do call. We don't know why certain things happen. At the end of the day, we're just a bunch of chess pieces on the board. It offends people. It is what it is, man. Get over yourself. It says, don't get caught out today. From today, you must wear a face covering in shops and supermarkets. So they're fully enforcing it now. What was before optional, what was before wasn't really enforced, now it's becoming mandatory. And they're slowly kind of turning up the heat, as you have the analogy with the frog in boiling water. They're gonna turn it up to the point where, because right now I actually tried to go to gym, because the gyms were meant to open up today from the 25th of July. Gyms are actually available, but for me to go to my gym, I need to book it. I need to pre-book. I can't just turn up like I used to and just get it popping. I have to book it, and I wasn't able to book it. The system isn't working, whatever the case may be. And I spoke to the dude, and he's a cool dude. He's from Brazil. He could be a tear, because he looks like an Edomite, but he's from Brazil. But he's a cool dude, you know what I mean? And I was speaking to him, and he said they've let go of staff. There was no one upstairs in the gym. I heard some people splashing about in the pool, because it's like a kind of like a leisure center. But yeah, basically people have been let go. You can't just, you can't just kind of rock up like you used to. You have to book it. Now what's going to happen? A lot of people are not going to be willing to go through all of that stuff, because now you have a minimum of people who are supposed to be in there. And he's told me they've kind of moved the machines around to enforce the 2 meter rule. So obviously, and a lot of people have already cancelled their membership. So what's going to happen to the gyms? Well, people who are working at the gyms are going to lose their jobs. People are going to get less fit. People are going to be less fit because they're not going to the gyms as a consequence of all of these so-called enforcements. And it's going to have an ongoing effect. People are going to be fined when people are already lacking money as it is. So it's pretty much, you're being attacked on all fronts here. And I just wanted to get into a couple of scriptures, which this is Luke 21:26 here. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Now I see men's hearts failing because you see people who are, really arrogant and love money and all of this stuff, and they're rocking up with the mask and all of that. So they trust in man and they believe in man. They believe in their enemies and they trust in oppression. So that's not going to end well for them at all. Sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather, man. My arm's kind of messed up. And this is Ezekiel chapter 9, and I'm gonna start from 4. And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And this isn't Jerusalem. When we're reading Jerusalem here, is actually talking about the remnant, the people of Jerusalem, because Jerusalem is where the people are. Jerusalem is the people, so not necessarily the place, is the people of Jerusalem. So go through the so-called blacks and Native Americans and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry. Now we're sighing and crying. I'm not gonna say I'm part of the hopeful elect, but those who are in that spirit are sighing and crying, and they're being marked and being set apart from these people, because and I'm going to get into that scripture later on, is wisdom shall be the stability of our times. Until others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after through the city and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Say utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary Jerusalem. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. And is pretty poignant that they say COVID is attacking that the elderly people. It's gonna start with the ancient people first. It's gonna start with them old men who thought they knew something but lived completely contrary to the scriptures. And this is Psalms 91:5, and I brought this up before. It's been brought out regularly since this whole so-called scamdemic came out. I say of the Lord Yahweh, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. So we're not scared, of these so-called violent happenings at night, and we're not scared of the arrows, the missiles, the guns that fly by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness. So we ain't scared of COVID, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday, which might be the vaccine or whatever they're bringing out next. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. So we're seeing the reward of the wicked right now, and they're panicking as hell, man. This is Proverbs 26:25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. And that's to say, his heart is completely abominable, because 7 is the number of completion. So when he speaks fair, you're not supposed to believe him, because he's still completely abominable. Everything that he says is not to your detriment. He tells you to wear a mask to protect you, when really and truly it's lowering your oxygen intake and lowering your immune system. and actually destroying your immune system. But these people, trust in oppression, so they're gonna go with whatever he says because they're a bunch of straight morons. And this is Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is his treasure. So that's our treasure. No, no, not in mammon and not in oppression. And I'm gonna leave off with that. I wanna say all praise to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to GMS. Shalom to the hopeful elect.